Ba-da-na-da-da. And we're good. We're here in the
Yeah.
flesh. It's Friday night, 7 o'clock on the dot. I don't know what I'm saying. All right, it's
You
11:45.
wish it was 7 o'clock
I
at
wish it
night.
was 7 o'clock at night, but we're here. What's up, Daniel? How we doing? Everything good?
Good.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, yes. And here
Just
on the docket, we're gonna be touching on some topics. Are you okay with that, good sir?
I'm fine with it. I listen. I consent to it. It's fine. We can touch some topics real quick. I consent. We're good.
There we go.
It's 11:45 at night.
11:45 and now. Let's fucking get straight into it. All right. Thank you all for watching the streams. Thank you all for subbing. We're at 126 right now. It's big fucking money. We're lit. Had a couple guys in the stream earlier. A lot of people from Europe. They're putting in chat like, oh, it's like 11 at night. It's like 12. It's like 10:30 at night. I'm like, damn, what the fuck? There was a guy
Hey, if you,
who's 17 years old, who is a wrestler. Not like WWE, but like Greco-Roman wrestling.
yeah. Oh, like the Olympic wrestling.
Yeah. For what place was it? It was not Romania. It was Norway. For Norway. Yeah.
Let's go.
They were in chat.
Shout out Norway.
I looked them up. Real person. Brother's tiny, but he's 17. You should be tiny. Okay?
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's
Cardio
still
going
growing.
crazy. He's going to be a great champ in the UFC one day. We had a whole fucking conversation now, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if he fucking subscribed, though. Motherfucker, you got
Where y'all at?
Abu. Motherfucker, fucking
Abu.
subscribe next time. If you're watching this video, you fucking better subscribe next time. All right, pal? I'm not going to tell you again. All right? I may have to take you to Snapdown City. All right? He'll get that reference. Okay? So here we go. Let me share my screen. So what we are going to touch on immediately is we are going to touch on NFL coaches getting hired and NFL coaches who previously got hired. No, we're not touching on that. We're just talking about the new ones. What am I on? It's late. It's late.
It's 11:45 at
It's
night.
late.
It's 11:45.
It's late. It's late. You know.
It's late unless you're on the West Coast. But you're on the West Coast, you know.
Oh,
Congrats.
I think I fucking. Oh, I'm amazing. Oh, I'm
Think you're
amazing. Okay. Okay, so you can see the screen, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
All right, we're good. So something cool I did was I have the screen sharing, but then I have on the OBS, I have another screen popped up. You feel me? My CPU going super right now, but I think we're going to be okay. I got a fucking PC. We'll be all right. My fucking... Damn, it's hot. It's working overtime. But here we go.
We'll go.
Let's talk
It's
about these
11:45 at
fucking
night.
coaches. It's 11:45 at night. That's the new title of the stream. It's 11:45. Here we go. Let's talk about it. We talked about Kevin Stefanski already. Great hire for the Falcons. We don't need to touch on that anymore. B+ is what they're giving him as a grade. Shout out to CBS. Shout out to Paramount. Hey, yo. We're going to touch on that a little bit.
Paramount.
Shout out to Paramount.
Carl's
And
gonna
then we
be a
got a
big
new
day.
one. Jesse Minter, the former defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers, is now the Ravens head coach. Daniel, talk to me. How do we feel about this move? A defensive coordinator going to first-time head coach.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting hire, right? I think there were obviously rumbles of maybe it could have been Mike McCarthy. It could have been, maybe a Sean McDermott type, maybe Mike McDaniel, maybe a more experienced head coach for maybe like a win now team, right? So Jesse Minter is an interesting hire, and I was actually speaking about it with Jess, yesterday, just off stream, and it was like it's a bit surprising that they went with something more comfortable. I feel like in a defensive coordinator, Jim Harbaugh was a big defensive guy. But I think they're happy with what happened with Lamar. They're happy with their offensive scheme. They're okay with their offensive talent. They want to shore up that defense because that defense was leaky last year at times. And Jesse Minter, I think this is what the Ravens also kind of needed. And I think they needed a breath of fresh air, a new voice in the room, new ideas, new play style. And Jesse Minter brings that, right? It may not be like the sexy name, may not be the more established name, and it's a risk. I think it's a fair risk to take, and that this guy hasn't, as a first-time head coach, coaching a team that needs to, has a ready now team in a pretty weak division. So it's interesting. But I think Jesse Minter's a new idea guy. He brings a breath of fresh air. The LA Charger defense was really good. Had a good pass rush, good scheme, good defensive backs, good turnover ratio. So he coached a very good defense for a long time. So I think he's a good coordinator. Usually, defensive guys aren't great as first-time head coaches. We'll see if this will be different, but I think he's going through a scenario where he has a ready now team. He's got a phenomenal quarterback, and I think his defense is good. He can make it even better. So I think it's a decent hire. I think it comes with a fair bit of risk, but I think it's relatively safe into what the Ravens are and what they want to do.
Yeah, I think once you have like an established kind of offensive identity, I feel like you kind of have to try to shore up the other side of the ball. And that's what these coaches are here for, right? If you have a quarterback, if you have pieces in place where you have those guys, you don't have to go get those guys. You could bring in a guy who's a defensive guy because you know that the defensive guy is going to bring in a very good offensive mind in there because the defensive guy will take over all of the defensive strategies, everything surrounding defense. And then they'll have the offensive coordinator be the offensive coordinator and he'll take over all the offense. We kind of saw it with like Robert Saleh a little bit, where like Robert Saleh's defense with the Jets, granted, not a lot of winning happening in New York, but that defense was always fucking sturdy, and it gave teams a tough fucking ask every single week to go in and score on that defense, right? So I like Jesse Minter. He's led the Chargers defense to being not fucking a leaky pipe, and they've been a top 10 defense in the league for the last couple years now. So in Baltimore, that was the issue, is the defense. That defense a couple of years ago under Mike McDonald was chef's kiss, creme brulee, 5-star Michelin. It was everything. Now you bring in another defensive guy who's proven to bring a defense to top 10 and be a really good defense. So being able to do that in Baltimore, where the defenses always are heavily coveted in Baltimore. I feel like when you think of the Ravens, you think of defense. You think of Ray Lewis. You think of Ed Reed. You think of Terrell Suggs. You think of all those legends who played there. So I think they want to get back to that. And with already Lamar Jackson, you kind of don't really need to do much, right? You just got to fucking keep it simple. Keep it to what Lamar's good at. Keep it to what the team's been doing. And then everything else will follow if you are a good coach and you bring in the right scheme and the right players. So I like this hire. I think it's good. Brings in a fresh face into the room. And he has some really good defensive playmakers too. So he gets a really good batch of players to work with as a first-time head coach. And we'll see where he can go from there. I really like the hire. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. We'll see how it happens. Obviously, I think the big thing is going to be the playoffs, right? This team should be a playoff team. Usually for a first-time head coach, that's the biggest hurdle. So let's see what he can do there.
Yeah.
The Chargers notoriously weren't a great playoff team.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to talk about an AFC East foe of yours. Down south, along the East Coast, in Miami. They hire the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, former Jeff Hafley. Now, I'm not going to lie, Jim. Never heard of that motherfucker until like a couple days before this news broke. I'm going to keep it a stack. I've never heard of him at all. You know, all top 10 marks, Green Bay on defense over the last 2 years. They've been a top 10 defense. That's pretty good. Miami has had like the worst defense the last 2-3 years. Their defense has been horrific. It's been awful. And they have offensive weapons at on the offensive side of the ball at Miami. They just don't have a guy who is the guy. They don't have a quarterback. They have Quinn Ewers. They have Tua, who's gone, and they have Zach Wilson. There's nothing there, right? So I think the first couple years in Miami with Jeff Halfley, if that defense takes a leap, but we're still trying to find our groove in the offense, I don't necessarily mind him being the coach for more than those couple years because I want to see what he could potentially do with a guy who is really good at quarterback, bring in a couple guys to surround him, fit the play style, and see what he could do if the defense is really good, right? So if they could try to bring in a quarterback in the next couple years, who knows? Sky's the limit for Miami, right? They got good offensive pieces. Tyreek Hill's getting up there in age, though. Jalen Waddle, he's been in trade talks. You got Devon Achane. Offensive line needs a fucking big improvement, respectfully. So they have a lot of work to do. This is a big-ass rebuilding team right now. And Jeff Halfley's going to have to bring in guys and bring in players who are going to be able to mold and shape that culture over the next couple of years before they even start thinking about winning. Respectfully.
Yeah, no, we're in agreement. Jeff Halfley was a name that was kind of nobody really heard about, or was, like you have like guys who are like Chris Shula, Jesse Minter, you have guys already established as like maybe Robert Sala's coordinators who you're pegging as these are going to be head coaches one day, or eventually, or like Lou Morello, like these guys are going to be interviewed and possibly get head coaching jobs. Jeff Hadley kind of wasn't that name that we knew about. Maybe we don't know ball like that, but that's fine. But yeah, that Green Bay defense was good. I wouldn't call it great. It was solid. It was middle of the pack for me. You had Micah Parsons there. That was also probably a big help as well. But I think this is more of Miami kind of just trying to find its footing, right? Like you said, trying to establish, that rebuild, get that rebuild started, find their quarterback, find their groove. And that defense is horrific. Period. Stop. It's horrific. Right? So they needed to bring in a defensive guy who could come in and stabilize that room. Now, is he going to be a leader? Is he going to be, is he going to, unite the whole team? Is he just here to fix the defense? That's kind of what I'm questioning about this move. Because if he could go in there, be a leader, be the next, head coach of this team, that's great for Miami. But I feel like this may be part of like a stopgap or like a placeholder hire until another big name emerges for when this team is ready, right? So I think it's a low risk, high reward. If he turns out great, you keep him. If he still sucks after 3 years, but your team's ready to go, you fire him and you bring in the next. So I feel like it's a low risk move for Miami. They're obviously going to trade Tua. They're probably going to trade Waddle or not re-sign Waddle. They're going to have to re-spend a lot on the team, and it's going to take 2 to 3 years for this team to kind of get back to where it needs to be. So I think not going for the sexy name, not going for the big payday head coach, not spending too much money on a head coach, and just kind of bring somebody to come and stabilize this team, stabilize this defense, and just kind of be there and see what happens type of deal. I don't think it's a bad move. So we'll see where Miami goes from here. I think if another name emerges and they bring in the quarterback and they get back to that sexy offense that they're known for in a decently solid defense, I think it becomes a premier destination in a couple of years if Jeff Hadley's not doing the job.
Oh yeah, 100%. Everybody wants to coach in Miami, but nobody wants to have to try to rebuild this team. Miami's fantastic, but trying to solve the issues of being a Miami Dolphins owner, GM, fan, player it's hard, and this is gonna take years. It won't be overnight. And I could kind of see that where Jeff Halfley kind of builds up a culture and they just haven't been winning, and then you bring in another guy who kind of has all the pieces in place to bring in that more winning, and then they really start flourishing. So, I guess we'll see in due time if we see like he's making good decisions, if the roster moves are really good. We'll see in due time. But Miami's gonna need fucking everything. They're gonna need everything over there. Oh, down there, Miami. We got John Harbaugh, but we already touched on that. Shout out to him.
Times.
I'm fantastic. I love John Harbaugh. Thank you so much for coming here. And hopefully we could get that fucking defense back, baby. Let's go. Then, moving on to the last one that we have. The Tennessee Titans going after a guy in the NFC who was just in the divisional game against the Seattle Seahawks, getting blown out, destroyed. It's Robert Saleh. Hey! Robert Saleh gets fired from the Jets, has a
Mm-hmm.
stint in Green Bay for a little bit, goes to fucking back home to San Fran, then gets rehired, has a fucking phenomenal year as the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, playing with practice squad guys, making them guys look good. Let me tell you, this guy knows how to coach defense. I think Robert Saleh has a chance to rectify some of his wrongdoings or some of the things that happened with the Jets organization and kind of rectify that in Tennessee. This is a new, fresh start, right? This team is up and coming. It's rebuilding. They know where they're at right now. This team is not ready to compete in the slightest. But with the Jets, you kind of thought, the Jets got some pieces on their roster. The defense is good. You bring in the quarterback, Zach Wilson could develop properly. Maybe we got a shot. With Tennessee, we know what they are. Trash. We know that they're going to be bottom of the barrel next year. And that's okay. That's okay for the expectation for this team. Robert Saleh is going to potentially build up that great defense. And you already have a young QB who showed promise. Cam Ward. Right? Cam Ward coming in here. Number 1 overall pick. Looked, he's a rookie. They lost a lot of games. But you could see the talent there. You could see a lot of potential there, right? If you get the pieces around him, a good offensive line, whoo! Who knows what the limit is for Cam Ward, right? And I know that Robert Saleh could coach defense. He could coach a nail into the wall without a hammer. He knows what he's doing. So if it's on the defensive side of the ball, I have no issue with this. Offensive side of the ball, let's bring in some guys who know what the fuck they're doing, who know how to develop. Get Cam Ward get him an offensive line. The weapons can come later. If he's protected and he has time to make throws, he can get shit done. So, who knows? Tennessee, next 2-3 years might be a little bit of a fucking, a little favorite. AFC South action, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, Jim. That division's strong, but, Tennessee might be able to make a run. Talk to me, Dan.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Like Robert Saleh, I'll be the first to say it. He wasn't the main problem on the Jets when they fired him. That was clear and evident. Was he an issue? Probably. Was he the issue? No, I don't believe that. I thought he was building something with culture. They rushed it. They went all in, and nobody was prepared for it. Right. So I think while he wasn't maybe ready for that situation, I don't think anybody. So I don't really blame his Jet tenure on him. The team got worse without him. So to me, I feel like Tennessee is taking a good hire. He had a great year this year in San Fran with literally a bag of chips, we used napkin and a nail filer on defense and got them to the AFC and NFC divisional. And basically got the team to the NFC division because that offense did jack shit the past 3 weeks. So I give that defense a lot of credit, give him a lot of credit for that job that he did. But yeah, I think Tennessee has a lot of potential. That defense is still young and growing. They have a lot of cap space. They have Cam Ward, obviously. I think if they're able to bring in, I think you kind of hit it a little bit. They have to bring in now the right offensive coordinator. Because I think Robert Saleh is going to coach that defense well. He'll get the right guys in the room. He'll know who to sign, and he'll know he knows who he can work, and he knows who he can mold culture-wise on defense, right? I think if you could bring in a decent coordinator offensively who knows what they're doing, who could take over and help develop Cam Ward, I think you have potential here, right? And I think, again, maybe it's another 2-3 years away. It's another project. But I think Tennessee, again, like you said, knows that. They're going to give him time. They're going to invest. They're going to spend the money. They always seem to do. And that division, they know they're not the top dog, but maybe one day they will be. You see it happen all the time in the NFL. Everybody gets their turn, except for the Jets, but everybody gets their turn, right? So I think in a couple of years, I think Robert Saleh will coach that defense up. They'll get better. They'll get a little bit older, a little more experience. And, there'll be a slight progression. And Tennessee this year, towards the end of the season, they started playing really well. Cam Ward started playing really well. You saw his potential. You saw his arm. He has good receivers there already. They're young. It's a young team. Tennessee knows where again. They know where they're at. So I don't mind this hire. And again, it's low risk. If Salah doesn't work out, but he's able to build the culture up, and he's able to prove that he can establish a defense and establish something there, and some name comes out who you really like more and is a proven winner, I wouldn't mind a fire and rehire for Tennessee. So I think it's a situation like that. So I think it's a very low risk. He knows how to build a culture. He did it with the Jets, and he's able to kind of be that guy there.
Yeah, 100%. Like, when you are able to deal with all of those injuries that came with being a 49ers staffer, anything is possible. Now, I get it. The system's in place. You got Kyle. You still had Christian McCaffrey, right? You still had a lot of good pieces within what was happening. But the fact that I'm talking about guys I've never heard of making plays. I'm talking plays. And it's so true, and I'm going to keep saying it. Any other team would have just packed that shit in and been like, oh, injuries. Well, fuck it. We're going to be ass. Let's just get a fucking first overall pick. Let's just be ass, right? Not the fucking 49ers and that coaching job that they did, which is crazy that Robert Saleh is not fucking up for coordinator of the year. That's fucking insane. Or assistant coach, whatever the fuck of the year. That's fucking insane. The fact that he's not there is criminal. That is a crime. That right there, that is terrorism. That's terrorism. The fact that he's not there is crazy. But Kyle Shanahan's up there for coach of the year. So, I'm not going to be too mad. But I would be mad because Robert Saleh, my boy, he's not there. Because I think he should. He's done a fantastic job. So him bringing that pedigree and that winning mentality from the 49ers to, what do you call them? Tennessee Titans. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. And also he had to go somewhere to wash off the stain of what the Jets did.
Of course.
To him.
Yeah, everybody does.
He had to wash it off a little bit. So he went back home,
Yeah.
took a shower, and now he's back outside. Now
he's back outside, yeah.
There you go.
He's back interacting with people that are different, new experiences.
Mm-hmm.
He's seeing the world,
Yeah.
Everyone needs to do that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just something different, right? So shout out to Robert Saleh. And that's pretty much, those are all the coaches that we still have. We still have a lot of guys, I think we still have the Browns job open that has not been taken care of yet. The Bills job is open.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers fucking interviewed for it. I'm not going to lie. Why is that the fire is higher?
I wouldn't be mad at it, but if I may give a prediction, wouldn't mind a Brian Daboll.
Maybe.
Think about it.
Maybe, Jim.
Think about it. They may go safe. We have the Steeler job too was open. That I have no idea who's taking that job. Because that's a project. That's not a job. That's a project.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who's gonna take that job. I feel like we're missing one.
I feel like there is one more. Arizona. Yeah, that's also.
I mean,
that's
it's
a 10-year
Arizona.
fucking city plan. That's like a MTA fucking blueprint to expand the subway. That shit's going on for 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, you're building a house with union guys there. I mean, they're all taking their lunches early and staying late and not working overtime.
Yeah, shit's not gonna get done. I'm just gonna say that in fucking Arizona. What? I feel like, is there another team maybe we're missing? Because this was the most
Vegas.
teams. Vegas. Raiders. Oh yeah, they still don't have a head coach. Holy shit. Who the fuck? Sean McDermott. Bring him in.
First overall pick, Mendoza.
Pick Mendoza. Just do it. Fuck it. McDermott's the most winningest coach on the market right now. He's won 70+% of his games in Buffalo. Fuck it. Pull the trigger. Why not? You know that he can coach a good team, that he can build a good culture. And especially he did it with a young QB. So maybe there might be a little bit of similarities there. And shout out to Mendoza. Shout out to Indiana. Yeah. Let me tell you. Shout out to
Indiana.
They won. Yo, first off, I'm not gonna lie.
Hang on. I'm looking. Hang on, I'm looking. Is that first down? We good? You know the meme with Kurt Signetti going around?
Oh no, I definitely
You
didn't
know
see it.
that
I know
meme?
he'd be looking like.
There's a meme where like they're measuring a first down, and he's just like, is that a first down? And there's like memes of like, when you see a hot waiter, a hot waitress at the bar, and you don't know whether or not she's looking at you or not. You're trying to survey around the people. You're just looking, or like you, or like you got the Chipotle line. You're looking to see if there's stuff in your burrito. No,
she
please.
she rocking with me right now, Chad.
Are we good?
Hold on. Did they put double steak? Double steak? Chad? I don't know, Jim. I don't know. I love the Google me. The Google me shit. He's like,
Google
I
me.
win. Google me.
Google me.
Yo, that motherfucker. Yo, if he ever comes to the NFL, which, yo, if he wins in the NFL, yo, the aura that he would have. The
He's
aura.
Italian.
What fucking team? Yo, come to the Jets, bro. If he turns
Now
the
we
Jets
ruin
into a winner.
We ruin him.
Oh no! He literally
we
took
would.
Indiana, a program that widely considered was not a program at that point. Never won shit, and then he fucking won shit. He could do it. He could do it. I think I think they'll be all right. Disciplined, you know what I'm saying? Bringing the right guys. You know what I mean, build a culture. Why not? Bring them.
Why not?
He could do it. I think if anybody is up for the challenge at this point, it is Kurt Signetti. And he's Italian.
And he's Italian.
Is he? Signetti.
We like that. Yeah, he is. Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yo, if he wins with the Jets, statues. Billboards.
Oh yeah, I was about to say.
He replaces
Statues,
the Statue of
billboards,
Liberty.
rename the stadium.
He is
pretty
the
much.
Empire State Building now. He is.
You build a stadium just for him to live in. Yeah, you rename the city, you rename the state.
He
you
eats
rename,
for
you rename
free,
everything.
drives for free, doesn't have to pay a toll in his life. Can go anywhere
I'm
free
naming-
in the stadium.
I'm naming my kid Kurt Signetti, whether it's a boy or a girl. It's Kurt Signetti. And not even like first name, last name. It's Kirk Signetti. Like that's the name.
Oh, that's
the
the first name?
right there. Yeah.
Kurt Signetti. Kurt Signetti. Dodonna.
Yeah.
Kurt. That's such. That kind of rolls off the tongue though. Kurt Signetti.
Signetti.
Kurt Signetti.
Kurt Signetti. Yeah. It sounds like an Italian name, right?
Kurt Signetti.
There you go.
Yeah, this is what it is. We're fucking winners.
And if it's a girl, and if it's a girl, it's Christianetta.
Christianetta. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Come on. Google me.
Google.
Right? That shit's, yo, I love that guy. Fucking shout out to him, man. But now, let's get into a bit of reactions. Here we go, Jim. Let me fucking pull up the YouTube. All right, let me go over here. Let me go over here. Let me go over there. Bam. Can we see the screen? So this is a channel that I am subscribed to on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a good portion of my WWE wrestling, intake. I don't watch the shows. I don't watch the product. I will be the first one to tell you that. I'm not doing that shit. I just don't have time to. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it on Netflix one time and I was like, okay, I'm not, I'm good. I'm chill. I'm not watching the product. Respectfully. So I keep up with this regularly, and there was a video that's right here. It's called "Why Fans Stop Watching WWE," and I got through a good portion of it, maybe like 10 minutes in. It's a 14-minute video, and I was like, we should react to this, right? Because Daniel, WWE guy, big WWE guy, right? Loves the product. Been watching forever, for a long time. I have fucking replica belts. I'm nostalgia farming with my replica belts. I love the nostalgia farming of like the 2000s and the 1990s going into the 2000s, right, with The Rock and Stone Cold. I would literally sit there and watch like the breakdown of the feuds, like how it got to the pay-per-view, like Night at the Dance or Back of the Bash, American Bash, whatever the fucking pay-per-view was. I would just sit there and watch the build up to that. Not even the match. I would say fuck the match. I liked the build-up. I liked the story. I liked where it was going, right? So we're going to watch this video, and yeah, we're going to see, you know, how we fancy it, if we have any takes about it. And let's get fucking right into it. Let's go. Let me fucking go all the way back.
Content and
Excuse
wrestling.
me, stop the video. Who are you?
Smart founders know something
right.
most people
There we
miss.
go.
Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your
We got
business.
ads,
With
chat.
Wix, you can
We
grab
got
yours
ads,
now.
chat, please.
Isn't
Pause. Rewind all the way back. There we go. All right, let me go over here and let's get it. And we got more ads. Okay.
There's your lucky
my
jersey.
God.
Oh my
Haven't watched it
fucking
since the
God.
win streak started.
You can't win
I
with
am
this.
not
shit.
sitting
You
next to
can't
you.
win. Here we
Make sure
go.
made
Oh, and it's
in
not
2021, I made this video because Vince McMahon was so washed that he was pushing fans away, and then Triple H took over in 2022, and the product felt alive again. And for the first
I remember this time when Vince McMahon, he was stepping down. That was big fucking news. And then when Triple H, because people were like, oh, Vince McMahon, he's too old. And, you know, he had a lot of things going on, extracurriculars outside of the fucking business. I'm not
No
going to
does.
fucking think a lot of fucking extracurriculars. A lot of people named. And
No
then,
does.
a lot of, you know. So then people were like, oh, Triple H, right? He does a good job with NXT. He seems to
Great
be,
job with
you know, he could do a great job. He could be a great successor, right? He's been learning under Vince McMahon for this amount of time, and he's a son-in-law and all that shit. So I was actually quite optimistic when he kind of took over, and it kind of brought a new life into the business, at least in my opinion, right, Dan? How do you feel?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I've been a huge NXT fan for the longest time when Triple H was there. I've gone to countless live shows of NXT. I've seen the NXT product every night. I loved all the guys that were there. All the matches were phenomenal. The way it was produced, the production value, everything was like a step of where it should be at, and he was doing it with like literally nothing. And these guys and girls were just killing it every single week. And it felt new, underground, exciting, and fun, and it worked. It worked. So when he took over for Vince as a creative director, and you knew most of his guys were there. You know, you had Seth there, you had Roman, you had Becky Lynch, you had Flair, you had Rhea Ripley, you had Io Sky. Like you had all of his mainstays, Bianca Belair. You had all these guys and girls that he built, that he worked with, that he personally did it with NXT and made it work. Put belts on them. Were the NXT product. So you just felt like a seamless transition was going to happen. And it kind of did. It was fresh. It was new. It worked. Visually, it looked better. Matches were better. Production was better. Matches felt new, fresh, and exciting. Storyline was new and fun. And just it really had a new breath of fresh air to the product. And then, you know, it just... We'll look at it, but stuff kind of happened.
Yep.
And we're where we are, where we're at.
All right, let's continue. Let me put this speed on playback speed. Let's go 125 speed. Let's see how that fares a little bit. There we go.
first time in years, old fans were actually coming back, and I made this video explaining why fans started watching again. But now the WWE is on the decline, and today we're gonna look at 10 reasons why fans stopped watching again, starting with...
Apparently, the numbers when they joined Netflix, like, it started out really good, and then it just fucking dipped really fucking hard. A lot of people just stopped giving a fuck. So...
And that's kind of the risk when you go into something like Netflix, because it's not cable TV. It's not something that you could easily switch to channel to. Netflix is a commitment, right? You can't switch off of Netflix once you start it. You can't switch back to any like WWE had commercial breaks. You were able to come back during the commercial. You were able to stay picture in picture, but you were always able to kind of have that freedom to leave. Once you leave Netflix, there's a good chance you may not come back to it. Right? Or you may have a scheduled match at like 9:30 that you may just tune in for that and leave. So you're not staying for the whole show. And that's the issue with Netflix, right? Is that if you're a diehard WWE fan, like some people are, they're going to sit there and watch a product from 8 to 10:30. But if you have that freedom where you're like you and I, and we have multiple sports on, more likely than not, we're going to choose to watch multiple sports than stay committed to Netflix because we have to be in the know, or we want to watch something else, or we want something else is on TV, on cable that we can easily switch to instead of going back to WWE and going back to Netflix. It's a commitment.
Yep.
So it's a tough thing. It's tough for viewers to kind of get committed to that.
Oh yeah, 100%. When it's on basic cable, you can easily click, but when it's on an app, it's like, I'm not coming back.
John Cena leaving WWE was always going to cost them viewers. A lot of longtime fans came back specifically for his retirement tour, and once that was over, they were gone. But the bigger problem are the fans who stopped watching because of how badly WWE booked it. Imagine you've been a fan for
Daniel, I've heard a lot about this John Cena booking. Some may say it was booked like crap. Would you be one of those people?
Mm-hmm. I think it's tough, right? Because, and he gets to it later in the video, the way it was set up and the way it was supposed to go is a complete, 270 into what actually happened, right? And that made shit tough. Now, the idea of this final run, I thought was very good. Turning John Cena heel, right? Having that shock value, and now the potential of different matches popping up that we didn't even consider blossomed, right? It blossomed, and it worked. It worked for 4.5 weeks. This worked. But there was a failed commitment by certain people who didn't want to commit to what was being done, and it kind of left Cena on an island. Now, Cena's great. He's amazing. But there's only so much he can do when what he was promised didn't come to fruition.
Yep.
And so that kind of is where it falls on Cena. And he takes blame for it, and he says he should have done better. But absolutely, certain people should have been there to bump up what he was doing, what they were doing. And because of that, they had to pivot. And when they pivoted, they did certain matches a certain way that I thought were really well done, that were really beautiful. That he had masterpieces with AJ Styles. He had masterpieces with Dominic Mysterio. He had great matches. He had that great match with Gunther. The result is a result, but I thought overall it was the right decision. Overall, I think the second half of that booking really did a good job. But when he was the heel, when he did turn that way, I think it could have been better. And it should have been better if it went a certain way.
decades. Your favorite wrestler of all time is back for one final year, and what you get is the worst retirement tour ever. It wasn't about one bad match, it was an entire year of disappointment. Triple H and WWE ruined it. We spent years consuming the product, spent hard-earned money on this company, only to watch a legend's legacy get completely tarnished. They couldn't even get his final match right. They had John Cena tap out for heat that only lasted a couple of weeks. For
I heard a lot about that heat. I heard a lot about Gunther having fucking generational heat, let me tell you, and then it lasted a day or two.
And, I'm going to disagree with this guy, right? I am going to disagree because I do feel like, yeah, maybe it wasn't what we envisioned, but I think because of the situation, they got the best of what they got. And I think you have to remember, Cena had to okay everything. He was in full control of what he wanted to do, the matches he wanted to have, and who he wanted to fight and how he wanted to fight them. That was all Cena. While he probably had some input from Triple H and other guys and producers and whatever, what Cena wanted to do, Cena had the freedom to do. So the matches he wanted to have, he had. How he wanted it done, he got it done. So I think to some degree, H, to me, isn't to blame. And Cena losing in his final match, I think is poetic. I think there's a certain beauty to it. There's a certain kind of way to look at it. And opinion is opinion. This is his opinion. I'm not saying it's wrong. But I feel like it's unfair to place that blame on Triple H for this specific moment.
Yeah.
A lot of fans, that was the final nail on the coffin. They don't trust Triple H anymore, and they're done with WWE. And honestly, I don't blame them at all.
We were supposed to team up with one other person. It was supposed to be a 3-on-3.
Incomplete storylines. Let's see if he's spitting right here. Let's see.
Okay. And the day that it was supposed to be announced.
Oh, we got a fucking ad.
Oh my god, and it's a belt.
Oh, it's a fucking belt ad. Golly. All right, come Come on, let's fucking spit.
Up.
Sticking with John Cena, another reason his retirement tour flopped was because of the storyline that was never finished. The Rock and Travis Scott were the main names behind his heel turn, but Dwayne was reportedly never even supposed to stick around after it, and then Travis Scott just quit in the middle of the storyline because he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. The heel turn was so bad that they just retconned it on an episode of SmackDown. Think about how that makes a fan feel. It pushes...
So, like,
Yeah.
Because I heard about this. They only did it for, like, to sell tickets.
Well, I feel like they did it because there was the expectation that Rock was going to be there, that Travis Scott was going to be there, that Logan Paul was going to be a part of this. This was going to be their own group, right? And that they were going to kind of run WWE, which on paper works. It works. As a heel group, as a heel faction, as Rock being the leader in that build up to Mania, it works. But when Rock quits and Travis Scott quits on it and he doesn't want to show up every week and Rock doesn't want to show up any week and Cena's on an island trying to fight everybody at once, it doesn't work. So I think that to me is where this is where this run failed, right? Now, he gets into more examples, which I agree with later on in the video with Incomplete Storyline, which I'll get to when he gets to it. But for this instance, it doesn't work because of a failed commitment by two guys who did not want to be there anymore. Which is, to me, that's on H for not realizing that commitment wasn't going to happen. But he also can't fight The Rock and Travis Scott. He can't force them to come.
Also, if you want to pause at any moment, just scream pause, and I'll pause it and then we can discuss.
You away from the product. And it's not just John Cena. Drew McIntyre started a Bloodline Hunter storyline in late 2024, and it looked like he was going to get revenge on the entire group for screwing him over, eventually leading to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I think it was a very promising setup, and then they just dropped it. Triple H pivoted to a different direction for Roman at Mania, and Drew was left with nothing. Then you have R-Truth storyline that got dropped as well. After they let him go, fan outrage brought him back. He returned, he cut his hair, and he became Ron Killings. It was a serious character with a ton of potential, but then the WWE got bored and turned him back into a goofball.
This is where I agree with him. Because what you did here was you made a commitment 2 weeks ago to an idea everybody kind of liked. That R-Truth, it was R-Truth, Ron Killings is here, it's a new guy, it's a new thing, cutting his hair. And then it just seemed like you were doing it for 1 week and you didn't have a plan. And the one thing I'll give Vince McMahon for is his storylines had payoffs. And once he made that commitment, it was 100% commitment, and he wasn't going to stop. Regardless of how stupid it was, regardless of how, idiotic it was, how redundant it was, when he said we're going to do this feud, he did that feud. That was always going to be. And with Triple H sometimes, it feels like it's very touch and go. How do we feel? How's the audience? Are they reacting to it? And if they're not, we're killing it. But at the same time, if you do that, and the audience is reacting and they are getting into it, but you just want to stop it, it's not working. Like, why am I getting invested in something that might not even have a payoff at the end, or is going to have a payoff weeks later? Why are we stopping and going feuds and storylines when they work? When clearly, like, the Drew McIntyre stuff worked. We got behind Drew. We were with Drew. We understood what he was doing. And you pivot to somebody else and you screw Drew out, we feel for Drew. And it's not to, like, bolster Drew. It's not to, like, kind of defend Drew. It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you stopping a feud mid-feud to pivot and never come back to it? Like, it feels like there's a lot of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, a lot of loose ends that are, like, so far down the rope that we are going to forget about it. And then they'll come back to it and it's like, oh, yeah. Like, why? Like, I feel like the R-Truth stuff really gets to me because it's like, why would you make that commitment to this guy, fire him, bring him back, have a storyline with him that works, make him into this character, and then revert back to what he was originally? Just keep him what he was. You could have done it a much easier way and we would have been okay with it. But you decided to go in a new direction, which was cool. Ron Killings was cool. Him cutting his hair was cool. It worked. And then you just stop it? For what? Like that to me, I just didn't make any sense. But it's not. This isn't like this is the main example. There are other examples as well that he'll get to that like will just continue this trend of like stopping feuds mid storyline because A, it's not working, or B, you're not committing the time to make it work. Like you can make it work, but can you commit the time to it? I don't know. Like to me, it's a tough argument. But the thing with Vince is that once he committed something, he committed to it. And H kind of seems to have a lack of commitment when it comes to storylines and what he likes. He waits for the audience to see what they do, and if it doesn't get positive, it doesn't work. But when you do it for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and you're still not pivoting yet, and now you pivot after 2 months of this, there's a bit of a problem. Because it's like, why would you commit to it in the first place?
All right. Yeah. Hitting the nail on the head right there.
The same thing happened with Bayley and her split personality gimmick. People were invested in that. The promo packages were interesting, and then they kind of just forgot about it. These incomplete stories are killing the company. The fans are tired of investing in something.
My guy, LA Knight. My guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That literally goes nowhere.
Acknowledge me!
Part-timers. I remember when fucking, Brock Lesnar being the fucking champ. I remember he would only fight like 3 times a year. It was fucking, let's get into fucking part-time. I fucking hate part-timers, these motherfuckers.
We gotta talk about part-timers because it's killing WWE's viewership. In the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras, top stars showed up almost every week. You would get matches like this on a random episode of Raw or SmackDown. That does not happen anymore. Now, many top names show up a handful of times a year. Roman is WWE's biggest star, and we may be seeing...
That's what I've kind of noticed, right? Like, Randy Orton and John Cena, right? They come from an era where you fight 200 plus times a year. You're at every Raw, every SmackDown. You're there. You are the guy. You're going to be wrestling a great handful of those dates, and we're traveling a lot. And then John Cena said something good and something like really like eye-opening for me. He said like, they were like, oh, no, we don't need you to work that many days. We don't do that no more. He's like, wait, what? We don't do that no more. I only need to be here 40 times? That's it? I would do 40 times in 3 weeks. A month. Huh? That's strange. Why would we don't do that no more?
I want to play devil's advocate here. Because on one hand, I agree your star should be there as much time as possible, especially if you're a fan. You're making that commitment to see these people and see these stars. On the other hand, wrestling in WWE especially is such a grueling job. Like, it's such a grueling job. You have to make a commitment away from your family. You can't have a family, essentially. You have no time with your loved ones. You're constantly on the road. And people will say, that's the grind. That's what it means to be a wrestler. That's how you pay your dues. And that's fine. And, like, I'm not saying that's not the case. But I'm saying for some of these guys who are a little bit older, who are a little bit, plus 40, plus 30, it's hard to commit 200 days. When you're doing it for so long, your body's going to start wearing down. Look at Seth Rollins. He was perfectly healthy, and he had an injury, and he can't do 200 plus days a year as much as he wants to. CM Punk is pushing 50. Cody Rhodes is pushing 40. Roman Reigns in his mid-40s. Like, these guys are not, 20, 30 who could do this week in and week out. It's a lot harder for these well-established stars to kind of be there night in, night out. And I get it. That's the job. That's the life. That's what it means to be a pro wrestler. And on the other hand, I don't necessarily think it's a bad take to say that. But I think also what it does, it kind of blocks certain guys and girls from being there and creating new stars and giving them a chance to be in the spotlight for a little bit. When you're not there, you're forced to kind of step your game up. You're forced to kind of find the next guy who is going to be here, who is going to be that workhorse, right? Look at a guy like Dominic Mysterio, who's there every week putting in the work and just now earned a break. Gunther, when he was the IC champion, wrestled for almost 2 years without a break, right? Like, these guys and these girls, and Rhea Ripley, who's there constantly. Io Sky, who's there constantly. Liv Morgan just came back from a break, right? But she was there constantly. There are people who are there constantly, but they need time off. If you're expecting them to be there every day, 365, every Raw, every SmackDown, that their body's going to break down. That's unrealistic and that's unfair to them to expect that, right? And I get it. You're paying a lot of money to see these guys and girls. I get it, right? You're paying these wrestlers a lot of money. I get that. But in that same vein, they're not. You have to preserve them. If you want to keep selling those marquee tickets, if you want to keep these events going, if you want to keep these matches flowing, you have to give them time off. You have to give them breaks. They've earned it. They deserve it, and deserve time with their family, their loved ones, or wherever they want to do. They have There has to be a life outside of wrestling because then you get guys like Ric Flair. You get guys like Jake Snake Roberts. You get guys who go to DDP. And those poor guys who are broken down and crippled from all the work they went through. You want Roman Reigns on DDP? You want Cody Rhodes on DDP one day? That's what's going to happen again. So it's unfair to kind of expect that from these guys and these girls to do that. That's my opinion, and that's my argument. But I get it. It's the product. It's wrestling. It's what you're supposed to do. I feel like that's kind of an outdated opinion, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Him 15 times a year. Brock Lesnar just returned, and he only wrestled 2 times since. AJ Lee's return got PG era fans excited to watch again, but we've barely seen her, and it turns out that she just signed a part-time contract. Randy Orton disappears for months whenever the WWE just does not have plans for him, which is absolutely insane. Even main event stars like Gunther, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk only wrestle once a month, twice if we're lucky. These are the wrestlers that should be the main focus of the show, and fans aren't going to tune in every week just to watch the top stars talk. They need to wrestle. I grew up in
That's kind of what I was
And that's
thinking
fair.
about. Like, I don't see them wrestle a lot anymore. Like, you don't have to wrestle every time you're on a show. Sometimes you're just cutting a promo, right? But I think when you're only wrestling like 4 times a month, I think that's a bit crazy. Only.
And that's fair.
That's crazy.
And that's fair. And you know what it is? I think it's because Triple H was a wrestler in that era, and he knows what it does to your body doing that schedule constantly. And it sucks. It sucks. So I think in some way he's trying to protect these people from themselves and trying to protect them their long-term future, right? And again, it's just the era that we're in. It's just the era that we're in.
Yep.
You're not going to see them wrestle every night. You're not going to see. Maybe they'll get 1 or 2 Raw matches a week. Maybe a tag. You know, New Japan has this very, very iconic thing where a lot of their stars every week will fight in a tag match. You have an 8-man tag with all 8 top guys in the company. And that'll be the main event after a big pay-per-view. So that you at least get them on the show, but they have like somewhat of a limited match. I'm not saying you should do that every time in WWE, but it's an idea New Japan did that worked for a long time and kept a lot of their guys healthy, right? So I get it. I think H is just from that era where he wants to protect these guys and he wants to protect them, and he doesn't want to see them get hurt. I think that's the main, and he wants them to preserve their body for the big pay-per-view coming up in 3 weeks, which is going to be a grueling 25, 30-minute match. Which, again, CM Punk is almost pushing 40, pushing 50. You know, sorry, he's not going to do 20-minute main event matches on Raw every week and do a 30-minute main event match in 2 weeks for Saturday Night Main Event. I'm sorry, that's an unrealistic expectation. It is. But for certain guys, they could do it, certain guys can't.
Era where you had an 80-year-old Ric Flair who was wrestling weekly. Shawn Michaels was putting on bangers a few times a month, and John Cena was destroying everyone in his path. That is how the WWE should be. Until they get back to that, I don't expect fans to return.
Especially when we're talking about like fans coming back, especially with like WWE and like fans, they love to like nostalgia farm, which I am a nostalgia farmer. I literally bought the spinner belt because I am a nostalgia farmer. I like that nostalgia. It hits different. I have the belt right there on my bed, sitting. I spin it from time to time, and it's glorious. I think they want to feel that again. You know what I mean? And it sucks that WWE, for me at least, doesn't have the same feeling around it. It doesn't have the aura. If you want to like.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. And there is a certain mist about it, and I felt that when I went to WWE Raw a few weeks ago, where it's like, this used to be like cutthroat and edgy, intense. Now it's a little bit more lax, and it's a little bit more, you know, like I saw people who when I've been to shows where people have been cutthroat at their like the 3rd match. Like a mid-card match, people were killing the loser and the winner and booing and cheering and being into it. Like, people are still into it. But when I went recently, it's like, it's kind of lackadaisical. And it's kind of, oh, this is cool, it's fun, it's a cool thing to be at. It's not that passion anymore isn't really there. But with the main event, when CM Punk fought Braun Breaker, that passion was there and I felt it. So it's still in the air, just to recapture it for a whole show has been what's been missing. I feel like.
to figure it out, and now I have to go get neck surgery.
Nah, injuries. Fuck. I mean, that
Yeah.
always sucks. I mean, when you fucking get slammed around, yeah, that'll happen.
Timers suck, and so do injuries. LA Knight, Kevin Owens, Dominic Mysterio, Chad Gable, Seth Rollins, and Sheamus are all injured, and this is nothing new. We've seen plenty of injuries over the last decade, but it does feel like more and more occur every year, and I think we can blame the style of wrestling in that ring. We saw way less injuries during the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s because the wrestling was completely different. Back then, wrestlers were not performing high-risk moves like they do nowadays. This is becoming a real problem because people stop watching when top names get hurt. If the WWE wants less injuries, they need to go back to the wrestling style that we used to see. Seth Rollins is
How do we feel about the wrestling style that we used to see? Like the style, like, cause I see a lot of motherfuckers be flying through air, a lot of high athleticism, high acrobatic things. That, for me at least, the longer you're in the air, you're probably increasing your likelihood of potentially hurting yourself.
It's called a high risk maneuver for a reason.
Yeah.
Every time they go to the top rope, it's a high risk move. So, shout out Michael Cole in commentary. Yeah, look, I mean, injuries suck. Injuries are a part of it. Every match, listen, you're a move away from blowing something out. Like, that's just the nature of the beast that is wrestling, right? Every move is a potential tear, snap, broken neck, broken arm, whatever it is, right? This shit's fake, but it's real. You can get seriously injured if you're not a professional doing what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Hold on, Dan. Let me answer chat real quick. We got Brandon Hanson in the chat. He's talking about Paramount Plus. This guy might be new to Paramount Plus. Let me tell you, I'm on Paramount Plus and I can't watch the fight. Did 324 already happen? No, it did not happen already. It's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when you can watch it, Brandon. Okay.
And we will be here for that.
And we will be here for that. We will be doing a Fight Companion, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe. All right, make sure to subscribe, like up,
Notification tabs on.
Notification tab. Make sure to fucking click that bell, baby. Yeah, you can only select pay-per-views or numbered events that happened already. I think they said from like 2020 to now. So the first pay-per-view of 2020 to now. That's what you could watch. But 324 is going to happen tomorrow live. It did not happen
or today. We are in today.
Oh,
depending on where you are.
It'll happen today at 5 p.m.
January 24th.
It'll happen.
2026.
There you go, Brandon.
It'll happen at 5 p.m. EST.
Yes. All right. But you were saying about the injuries?
Yeah, no, I think it's a part of the beast that is pro wrestling and in general, and I think the style is different because the generation is different, right? There's more athleticism. It's less about muscle. It's less about how you look, but it's more about how you move, right? You think about The Rock, Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Taker, Shawn Michaels. These guys weren't known for being high jumpers, high flyers. They weren't known for being, that lucha libre style, that quick movement style. It was grind them down, beat them up, hit your big move, win the match. That was what it was. And these guys today look different. Cody Rhodes does not look like Hulk Hogan. Roman Reigns does not look like, Shawn Michaels. I'm not making that comparison by just look. Like, they're not the same body build. Right? Shawn Michaels focused on his body and his moveset, and while he did jump occasionally, most of the stuff was in the ring, on the ground, and as a wrestler. Cody Rhodes is more of a high flyer, athletic guy who's jumping from the middle rope and hitting moves. That's his style. That's what he has done to stand out from the other wrestlers. Because that's what you had to do back in the day. You had to find your own moveset that made you stand out. And that meant being more athletic. That meant being a bit of a risk taker. Doing moves that garnered a pop. That garnered the audience's attention. When you're a mid-carder, you need to find a way to find your place to get the audience to look at you and get you involved in your match. So when you're the main event, you don't really need to do that as much. Their eyes are already on you. They know who you are. When you're a mid-carder like Cody Rhodes was, you had to wrestle a certain way to kind of get them to look at you more.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's been happening, and it goes through generations. Hulk Hogan was a different wrestler than The Rock. Cody Rhodes, a different wrestler than The Rock. John Cena was a different wrestler than Cody Rhodes. Like, these are generations of different wrestlers and their styles and how they're unique. John Cena is different from Hulk Hogan. The 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, they're all different. They're all unique in how they wrestle. It just so happened that the more we got into it, the more riskier the moves got, because the more we want to appeal to that eye-opening potential. And that potential of, hey, look at me. Look at what I can do. Look at how fast and quick and springy and how bouncy and how athletic I can be compared to these guys who are just grinding it down. You remember those matches with Randy Orton and John Cena. They were great, but there was a 10-minute gap where they were in a headlock. And that was their style. But that was their style. That's how they did it.
Let me just squeeze in here. Let me get back in chat. Brandon Hansen once again. Then why the fuck does it say UFC 324 on January 24th on the damn screen? Because it's getting ready for you to click, probably. That's probably what like it does. You know, it's not ready for you to watch.
It's probably preview. Yeah, that's right. It's like they have like a countdown, I guess, or like there should be like maybe like a time date on there where it's like like once 5 o'clock hits, it'll change like watch live.
Yeah, it's probably
Paramount Plus does do that with soccer matches. I know that. Like if a soccer match is not live, like 15 minutes before they'll go start live, but they won't start the product yet. But before that, they won't like show it. They'll make it clickable, but they won't like show like the watch live feature.
Yeah, it'll probably just be like, come back later for this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come back at 5 p.m. for that. So that's why it's on the screen. It's for like promotional thing. You just can't watch it now because it's a live thing, so you can't. It's just not live. So yeah, I hope that helps, Brandon. Also, subscribe. Get in there. Come on, Brandon. You've been in chat. You already typed twice. Come on, Brandon. Let's get in there. Shout out to WWE and we hate injuries. There you go.
His recent injury is a perfect example. That match was excellent, and I won't lie, that spot was incredible and insane, but it was not needed. The match was great with or without it, and more legends are even telling the other guys to protect themselves, like The Undertaker when he told Logan Paul he shouldn't do moves like this ever again.
Here comes Fatu!
The wrestling in WWE looks fake, and it's one of the biggest reasons why fans are not watching the product anymore. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it always looked real in the past, because there were plenty of moments where you could tell that they were clearly working together, but nowadays it feels like everyone is just trying to get their spots in. That old school style where it felt like a real struggle is gone. They do not sell.
So I do want to talk about this real quick in this moment, because I think there's two things here. I think, first of all, when he mentions that the wrestling, looks fake and that's different from the 80s and 90s, I think part of it is that you're also in on it. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, most people are in on it. They know it's fake. And I do agree with him when it says people are just trying to get to their spots. I think you can see that. I think that's also part of the issue, is that there's no more like surprise factor to it. Like everybody has their set moves and you're all waiting for it. And that's not wrestling. Trying to build up to those moves was what the old style was. And trying to hit that move and that be your finisher and that be your moment. That you don't need to hit, like every Cody Rhodes match. He's got to hit the Cody Cutter. He's got to hit the Crossroads at least 3 times. He's got to, do the bionic elbow. He's got to drop down and punch a wrestler in the face, punch his opponent in the face. He's got to jump off the insecurity off the middle rope. Like there are certain moves that is in every single match that he does that we're not getting the finish until he hits those moves, and we know that. And to me, that's ruining it. Like those moves should be protected. Those moves should be, only used on occasion. And I think that's part of the issue, is that everyone is waiting for those moments to pop. Those moments of like, oh, he hit the Cody Cutter, move on to the next one, or like when Roman hits the Superman punch or the spear or the drive-by. Like there's certain moves that he's going to hit, and you're just waiting for it. And those moves should be surprises. Those moves should be not anticipated, or should be used sparsely for that when they do happen, that's a big moment. Everything in between should be pure wrestling. Should be punches and throws and ring work, arm work, body work. That is wrestling as pure form, and that's what we've kind of lost. And I will agree with him on that, is that that's what we've lost in terms of the style, in terms of what wrestling is. And I feel like now it is more move-centered. Like we're waiting for the next move, and like that. Like the match is not over until both guys hit their finisher. It's whoever hits their finisher last that we know that's going to be the winner.
Yeah, I would just add a little line. Like it looks more choreographed than before.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel as raw or like,
Right.
unfiltered. It feels like, okay, we've already filtered out everything that we needed to do, and then we're just gonna get this shit done. It doesn't, it's not hitting that genuineness for me, at least, the casual.
Yeah.
like they used to. In the past, a wrestler would take a suplex and they would sell it for a couple of minutes. Now you see these guys get up in seconds and move on to the next move. You can tell matches are choreographed. Guys are literally standing there waiting for their opponents to jump on them. Some of them can't even throw a proper punch anymore. People are also breaking character in the middle of the matches, and finishers are completely dead. It takes 4 or 5 of them just to end a match. The state of wrestling in that squared circle is not good right now. It's not healthy at all. Bret Hart complains about it. The Undertaker is starting to talk about it. Stone Cold has been vocal about it. Even said that the current product is unwatchable. And Jim Cornette, he's been literally saying this for years now. Wrestling needs to look real again, or people are not going to want to keep watching, and that is just a fact.
But I also
Yo, shout out to Bret Hart. Bret Hart, generational. Whether you like him or not, I'm gonna say this. Bret Hart sound a little bit bitter. But that's just me coming from an outside perspective. But he may have some validity to his claims.
know the one thing that you lack is a personality.
Not all F words are bad.
Gracious,
Oh,
man.
right.
Fucking Optimum shit internet as well. Trash.
It's essentially 50% wrestling and 50%
So know the one thing that you lack is a personality.
professional wrestling is essentially 50% wrestling and 50% storytelling. And as I just mentioned, they were taught to wrestle the wrong way. But an even bigger problem is a lot of them don't have the storytelling ability either. That includes promos, character work, and charisma. All of those things are crucial to attract viewers. And when you look at the current roster, how many of these guys can actually cut a great promo? How many
How many guys could actually cut a great promo? I can name you probably 3, 4. 3, 4. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre. He cuts pretty good promos. Those are the 4 that I could give you.
Promos are interesting because I do feel like there's a lack of charisma with certain characters and certain wrestlers. I do feel like maybe not all of them hit the mark, but I feel like I've seen over time, with more practice and with more opportunities, newer wrestler promos have gotten better. I think AJ Styles is a great promo guy. I think Randy Orton's a great promo guy. I think Kevin Owens is fantastic. Sami Zayn's fantastic. Chad Gable, to me, when he first started, had terrible promos. And when he kept working on it, it got better and better and better and more believable, right? I think, and part of it has to do, like Bianca Belair, I thought was kind of mid at promos, and she got really good at it. Naomi got really good at promos. Jade Cargill, she needs work. But I feel like a little by little, she's gotten better, right? And I feel like charisma in promos is different from charisma in the ring, right? I feel like charisma in the ring is where I see the main issue being. And that a lot of these wrestlers aren't getting the engagement from their character in the ring as opposed to on the mic. There's a bit of a discrepancy. Like Lyra Valkyria is an interesting one, where her on the mic skills are really good, but in the ring she doesn't connect the same with the audience, right? Bayley, her outside the ring work and her on the mic skills are great. In the ring, maybe not there. There's a disconnection there, right? Even to a certain extent, Roman Reigns, when he first started, his in the ring work was great. His mic work wasn't great. There was a disconnect, but he got better over time. The more and more, and once he found his character, he was able to connect the two to making it work, right? Even, there's certain, like Braun Breaker right now is getting really good at promos because he's getting more work with it, and he's probably getting lessons. He's getting taught, and he's getting advised. And now you see his mic work is correlating with his in the ring work and his attitude and how he wrestles. Like that's where the charisma can be judged. On the mic is on the mic. You're either good or you're bad. It's always going to be one of the two. It's how you wrestle in the ring and get that engagement and that connection through your mic work to your character that's able to get that connection to the audience and to us as the viewer, and why we should care about why you wrestle and why you wrestle the way you do. To me, that is where there's a lack, and where this company needs to work is wrestlers need to start connecting with their mic skills and their in the ring work, because there is a disconnect there. But Jey Uso, another guy, great mic guy, great charisma guy, not a great wrestler, and you don't feel that from him in the ring. You're waiting for his move, but it doesn't happen. You're waiting for that connection of his mic and what he says to correlate to how he does in the ring, and it's not there. And you're left underwhelmed. And that to me is a problem. You're left underwhelmed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Of them have a character that feels real and not just something that creative handed them? The answer is not many. Back in the day, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, The Undertaker, Mick Foley, Kane, all on the same show. Every single one of them could grab a mic and hold an audience. Now, we're lucky if we get 2 or 3 people on the entire.
Stone Cold, Rock, Mick Foley, Taker, Kane, Triple H. Probably some of the greatest mic workers you're ever going to say.
All in the same era too.
All in the same. Well, like that's the
high.
the thing though. Like you named probably the greatest mic workers of all time. How are you going to compare that to this era? You can't. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe he's trying to make a correlation that WWE just doesn't have those guys. Like where back then
fair.
they did.
But that's hard.
Yeah.
Because those are generational mic workers. That's not even talking about Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, who were also part of that era. You had Batista, Randy Orton, early John Cena,
Edge
Kurt Angle.
as well.
The list, Edge.
Oh my
the list
goodness.
goes on.
Yo, let's
The list
fucking
goes
nostalgia
on.
farm, Daniel. Let's fucking nostalgia farm. How many more do we want to fucking talk about here?
You had Lita, Trish, Mickey James, Rey
Oh my gosh.
Mysterio.
Keep going. I'll be right back. Keep going.
Oh no, like you had generational talent. You had Chris Jericho.
keep
I forget to mention. You had Chris Jericho there too. You know, like you had so many. You had Chris Benoit. You know, who was also great. You had Eddie Guerrero. I mean, like,
just keep it going.
like you had so many guys and so many girls who knew what they were doing and knew how to handle a mic, but also knew how to connect it to the audience. Like these are guys who were great on the mic and great in the ring because they had that connection. And I get his point. I get what he's saying. It's so hard to compare the two eras. It really is.
Fair enough.
Roster who can do that, and it's not entirely their fault. The WWE does not develop characters anymore. They develop catchphrases. They give someone a gimmick, slap it on a t-shirt, and move on. There's no depth or layers. You really have no.
That I agree with. There's a lot of catchphrases now, and now a lot of mic work happening. Right, I agree with that. It's because a heel was something legit. Like when a heel is like when Gunther's talking to Jey Uso, and he's talking about his family and whatever, and Jey hits like, yeah, but yeet, bro, and leaves the ring. You didn't win the mic battle. you didn't win the war of words, bro. Like I get it. It is more about catchphrases, and it is more about hitting that one-liner, and a lot of people forget about the majority of the promo. And that's also part of the problem, is that that's where the meat of the story is, but because you cap it off with ya, or yeet, you forget about what the story is. You forget about why Jey Uso and Gunther are fighting, right? And you start to not, like, what's even the story?
Yeah, you start to not give a fuck.
A little bit, yeah. And like promos are that important where you need to kind of have that moment of like, okay, the audience is quiet. I've heard a great quote for I think it was Jim Cornette, where it was like, you want one of two things when you're hearing a promo. You want heat, where they're booing the fuck out of you and they hate you, or you want silence, because that means they're listening and they want to hear what you have to say. And when you have that silence, that's where you have to capitalize and make sure you end it on the right note. People remember that promo. And that hasn't happened in a long ass time. The last time it happened was when John Cena went heel in Belgium. Because they were booing him, but when he spoke, they were quiet because they wanted to see where it was going. That's when you capture that moment. But before that, you really didn't have that. That's really where we're losing it with promos, where people aren't remembering and acknowledging and understanding and willing, and what they want to listen. But when you don't continue, and it goes back to the point of not finishing storylines, where it's like, when you don't finish a storyline with a right promo, it's like, what's even the point anymore?
Yeah. Put my spinny back. Let me put my spinny down. Let's keep it fucking pushing.
No reason to care about these people beyond what they do in that ring. The wrestlers who do have charisma, your Punks, your Romans, and your Codys cannot carry an entire show on their own. So what we're left with every week is a roster full of great athletes who can't connect with an audience. And if fans don't connect with the characters, they're not going to keep watching. It is that simple.
Yeah, so before we get into anything deeper than that, let's talk about Gorilla Position.
The WWE Unreal Series did a lot
this
more
fucking shit, Unreal. Let's fucking Unreal. Let's
damage than we could ever imagine. I was against it before it came out, and I hated it even more after actually watching some clips online. The beauty of wrestling is that fine line between fiction and reality. We understand that it's predetermined. It's 2026. Everyone knows that wrestling is not real, but there were moments and there were matches and some feuds that just felt real. It made you believe that some of these guys might actually hate each other. That was the last piece of kayfabe, and kayfabe is the most important piece of this puzzle. The WWE took what was left of it and killed it. We found out that rivals like Seth Rollins and CM Punk were actually friendly. We got an exclusive look at the writing staff literally coming up with ideas on camera, and I would say that everything that made wrestling special died the minute that they released it. To give you an example, I have a friend named Kyle, and he told me he can't even watch anymore because of how fake it all feels after watching Unreal. This is a casual fan who lost any interest in the product because he now knows that everything about it is fake and not real. We're going to see more fans step away as WWE keeps producing more seasons of Unreal, and it's a shame that Triple H agreed to do this because it honestly feels like Hunter just wants to show off that he's the mastermind behind everything. His ego just could not keep this one thing sacred.
Whoa. He's spitting. He was spitting on that.
Yeah. I have my opinion on Unreal. I don't mind it. For me, I understand why people don't like it, and they're not wrong, right? They're not, and he's not wrong, and I'm not going to argue against that. I think he's ultimately right. It's part of why the product is a product. If you're interested in that side of the business, I don't mind it. I don't. I think if you're interested in that side of this creative process, and I find interesting of why the fuck did we pivot here? What was the decision here? What were they thinking? I kind of find that entertaining. I understand the hate, and I think there's certain instances where you get a rare moment into the mind of a wrestler as well. Like when CM Punk is talking about that spot in the chamber match, into how they're gonna figure out that finish. That's utter brilliance. That's so cool in the moment to figure out what he was thinking in that moment, and you see the professionalism and the level of understanding and how knowledgeable he is about the product. And I understand it breaks the kayfabe, and at the time you had the Seth Rollins, CM Punk kayfabe and what it was, and if it was real beef, fake beef. I think there's still kind of beef there, but ultimately they're professionals, right? So I understand it. I understand losing that kind of aura, that kind of air around it. I'm not saying this is wrong, and I mostly agree with what he's saying about Unreal and about kayfabe being broken. And I think it's so hard as well in an era of social media, and this is kind of the thing that happens with old wrestlers as well, is they're still trying to live out their character as if they were always on the screen. And that's a hard thing to do, when the cameras are rolling 24/7. When the camera's always on you, when you're outside of the ring and you're in the grocery store, Gunther's not going to be a dick to you in the grocery store. I'm sorry. He's just not. Randy Orton's not going to RKO you in church. Okay? Right? There's going to be a camera on these guys at all times, and on these girls at all times. Where, it's hard for them to kind of stay in kayfabe. Right? And I get Unreal is breaking that, but in that same vein, with social media now and everybody being out there and everybody showing their personal lives already, it's either you're on social media or you're not, and nobody's not. So that makes it a little bit tougher for guys nowadays compared to the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, where they didn't have that, where it was easier to kind of have that on-screen presence because nobody really knew what you were like off the camera, because you didn't have a camera in your face every day, an iPhone in your face every day. I think that is the difference here. But Unreal is Unreal, and breaking kayfabe is breaking kayfabe. I think it should always stay with, if you're on a WWE camera, you stay in character. And once you break that, you lose that aura and that magic. And that's where I agree with him on that.
Oh, about the money.
Picture this. You watch WWE, you just got back into it a few years ago, and WrestleMania is in your hometown. You want to see CM Punk, you want to see Roman and your other favorite guys, so you go out to buy a ticket, and you see that it's a couple $1,000s for a terrible seat, so you skip out on it. Then a few months later, there's an episode of Raw near you, but that's another $700 for a TV taping. It gets insulting after a while. You dedicate all this time and energy into a product that just does not care about you. It cares about your wallet instead. The WWE raising ticket prices is not just annoying, it's pure corporate greed, and it's pricing out the exact fans who made this company what it is today. The families, the lifelong viewers, and the people who grew up on this stuff simply cannot afford to go anymore. Lana even admitted that she can't get tickets for free, regardless of the fact that she has a Legends contract and her husband works for the company. She said that Rusev has to pay $5,000 just to put her in a box, and if that's how they treat their own talent, imagine how they see the rest of us. Back in the day, wrestling was for everyone. You could take your kids to a house show without draining your savings account, but now it's a luxury. The WWE wants those premium prices, but they're not delivering a premium product. You're paying more to watch part-timers, cut promos, and a lot of matches to just end in DQs, and that is not cool. TKO and WWE have made it clear where their priorities are, and it's not with the fans who stuck around through the bad years. Instead, it's with whoever's willing to pay the most.
You're watching.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, he's spitting. I mean, there's not much that we can say to that.
To
Yeah.
say. I do want to say one thing. I will add on to this point real quick. He briefly mentioned how if you are going and you do have the luxury to go, and it is a great experience if you do go. If you're going and the main event ends in a DQ or a sloppy finish or it's not the result you wanted, you have a right to be pissed off about that. Because if you're paying like thousands of dollars to go see your favorite guy wrestle, or just see a great match or a great main event overall, and it ends in a DQ, like if you get that rich and see Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on a Raw, and it ends shitty, that's fucked up. If you're going to raise ticket prices, every Raw now and every SmackDown now needs to be a premiere show. Needs to be. So I think that's where you can kind of get the argument for part-timers and wrestlers not wrestling. But in that same vein, you can't have them come out every week and whatever, but you have to kind of diverse it. Space it out. Where there are certain events where, hey, guess what? Seth Rollins, CM Punk, main event of Raw. We may up the ticket prices here. But if the main event is not that, ticket prices should not be thousands of dollars. If we're at the Raw before WrestleMania, guess what? We're not getting a marquee main event, guys. Tickets should not be $10,000. That's not fair. And that's where it's fucked up. And that's where I kind of also agree with overpricing and how you're pricing out what are the real fans. The fans who want to go there to escape, who want to go there to like live out nostalgia, who want to go out there and just kind of vent. That's who it's for. That's who it's meant to be for. And you're losing that part of it. And you're losing that edginess and that feistiness and that kind of, we want to be in on the act, but we're paying so much money, we're just hoping for a good match and a good ending. That's not what this is about.
On TV, I'm the celebrity.
This one isn't entirely WWE's fault, but it's still killing their viewership. Social media has changed how people consume content, and wrestling isn't immune to it either. TikTok destroyed our attention spans. People don't want to sit through a 3-hour episode of Raw anymore. They want the highlights, and they want that 60-second clip on Instagram or the Reddit post that summarizes everything. Why would someone dedicate an entire night to watching WWE when they can just scroll through their feed the next morning and catch everything that mattered? And I would even argue that WWE plays right into it. They upload every big moment to YouTube within hours. They post clips on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else. So now the fans are trained to just wait for the content to come out to them. There's no urgency to watch live. There's no fear of missing out because you won't miss anything. And this is a problem across all television, not just wrestling. Nobody really watches anything live anymore unless it's sports with unpredictable outcomes. And even then, the younger viewers just check the score on their phone. The thing is, WWE used to feel like must-see television. You had to be there on Monday night or you'd be lost in the conversation the next day at school or work. But now you can just catch up in 5 minutes on your lunch break. The product hasn't just lost viewers to other shows, it's lost into the way that people consume media now. And that is not changing anytime soon, unfortunately.
A fan came up and they said,
Yeah. I mean, I used to grow up when I was young where if there was a pay-per-view and I knew it was over, I would have run to WWE.com and I would refresh that bar. I would run onto YouTube looking for match highlights. And I was like after the show. And I would need to see the Raw to see the highlights of that match and to see what went down. I used to have DVDs of pay-per-views I didn't get to see. Of like that's obscure pay-per-views I didn't see because we couldn't watch it. We couldn't afford it, right? But I used to run to WWE.com. That used to be my social media to know what happened. He's kind of right, and I'm guilty of it all the time, where it's like, I didn't watch Raw. I didn't watch SmackDown tonight. I'm probably going to watch a 2-minute TikTok about what went down, and I'll be caught up. I mean, again, it's not WWE's fault. It's not. It's convenient. It's easy. It's understandable. And I think it's part of why you're losing viewership. It's part of why you're losing. I don't think it's the reason why you're losing a lot of fans, but it definitely is part of the reason as to why viewership is down and to why people don't care anymore. It's like you don't have that, oh my God, I need to know what went down, or I'm going to be lost. I need to follow up on Raw, or I'm going to be lost. Because if you miss Raw, you miss Raw. Like, that was it. There was no going. You got to wait for that shit to come out on YouTube a week later.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can catch up on Raw in 30 seconds. I can go on TikTok right now, type in WWE SmackDown. I'll find a SmackDown that went down recently, and we'll tell you what happened in 3 minutes.
Yeah. It's genuinely crazy because, like, I remember the pay-per-view would happen, and then Monday Night Raw, and then in the beginning they would have the little promo packages and stuff like that, and you get to see kind of like him land the finisher and him with the picture of the shoulder up, you know what I mean? Like it hit different, right? And then they show you the finish, and then you're like, oh shit, and then he comes out, and then he's talking shit, and then they both come out, they're talking shit, and then another guy comes out, now it's a triple threat in the main event of Raw. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it hit different. It just did. It was a different time. It genuinely just was a different time. That's the only way that you can explain it.
Oh my God, Randy Orton. I remember watching you when I was a kid, and then that was it. I was like, oh, I'm officially old.
This last one is the hardest one to talk about because there's no real solution. People grow up, life gets in the way, and eventually fans just stop watching. It happens to everyone. You're a kid and wrestling is your whole world. Then you become a teenager and it's still kind of cool, but then college hits, or you get a job, or you start a family, and suddenly you just don't have the time to watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown for another couple hours. It's not that you stopped loving it, it's just that life got busier and wrestling just unfortunately did not make the cut. The WWE used to survive this because new generations would just replace the old ones. Kids would discover it, fall in love with it, and the cycle would continue. But that's not happening like it used to. Ticket prices are pushing families away. The product isn't kid-friendly enough to help young viewers, but it's also not edgy enough to keep adults interested. It's stuck in the middle, and it's appealing to no one. Here's what I think WWE should do. They should make Raw the show for adults with edgier storylines, more intense matches, and TV-14 content. Then you can make SmackDown the family-friendly product that the parents can watch with their kids. 2 different shows for 2 different audiences. I think that's how you keep more people watching, but even then, this is just life. If your product isn't red hot, people are going to prioritize other things, and right now, the WWE is not red hot. It's lukewarm, and lukewarm doesn't survive when life gets busy. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did,
that was a great video.
Yeah,
that was a fantastic video. You got anything to add on to that last?
I think when I was a kid, I used to love WWE. I used to watch it all the time. I used to have the time for it, right? Like you said, pay-per-views. We have a bunch of fan members over on pay-per-view. When we actually bought a pay-per-view, we had the luxury to do that, which wasn't often, but when we did, we made it an event, right? And my dad was into it as well. He was into it as a kid, and he mentions I'm the reason why, he got back into it. So, because I was into it, so he kind of grew back into it as well. So, but yeah, high school years, college years, I wouldn't say the interest waned, but like it diminished. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that same spark that used to be there. That comes with growing up, where you find out it's fake, where you find out, shit's tough, where you find out, your favorite wrestler is not who you think he is, right? So it comes with growing up and the reality of it, and you understand the product, and you understand, and I think part of it too is that you go down one of 2 routes. You become a psychopath who just never grows up, or you have to grow up, and most people will have to grow up, and that's the reality of life and how shit happens, right? Am I going to stop watching wrestling? No. But is it lower on my scale of priorities? Absolutely. And for some people it isn't, and that's their right, and that's what they feel like, and that's what they're into, right? But for most people, it's low on the list. There are other things that take priority over wrestling, right? And I think the younger generation is going to be the future of it, and if I'm, God willing, have kids, I'm hesitant to maybe get them into it, because I don't know how they're going to attach to it. Is it going to be different from me and them? Is it going to be different from how I look at it? How am I going to explain what they see through their lenses? That is, social media, the internet, and try to also buy back into it myself when I know half of it is not real, right? So it's hard. It's a hard thing to kind of make that commitment to for a young kid, and nowadays, they have to spend the money on belts, figurines, tickets, pay-per-views, streaming services, all of that. It's a commitment now when it never used to be, where there was magic like that, right? Where it was high priority for children, but also non-costable for adults, where they could, spend 2 to 3 hours every night, where they could spend, $50 on a pay-per-view, $100 on a ticket. Oh, we'll go one weekend. Sure, why not? It's cool. When you're outpricing them and you lose that magic and you lose that where kids are like, oh no, I know it's not real, but it's cool. You lose that. And I've gone there where I see that magic still there, where kids are there, they're watching and they're into it, but they're not falling in love, and I see that. I see they're not falling in love. They understand it's the understanding of the product and the production, and that everything is kind of a different beast than what it should be, right? And the next generation of pro wrestling fans are gonna grow up knowing that it's not real and knowing that there's an air of fakeness to it. So I think it's part of the business, part of being a fan of anything. But for WWE, it hurts especially because now how are you going to resell yourself to something that that kids know as well is not necessarily there?
Yep.
So it's tough.
Yep, 100% agree. And that was a fantastic video. Really, really well done.
Great video.
Really laid out a lot of the issues that WWE has. It is getting later, and we will record the hockey video after this stream. So we're going to jump right into UFC. We're going to preview it, just another slight little preview, because I already did a lot of previewing.
You did do a lot of previews. Go watch those videos.
Go watch my fucking videos, chat. Watch my fucking video. I put in hard effort. It was easy. I'm a fan. I like it. I love it. I know it. It's great, right? So let's just talk about this card, right? Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. Main event for the interim lightweight championship. Fantastic fight. Really good fight. Paddy Pimblett's a big name. Justin Gaethje trying to get back on that throne and become an interim champion for the second time. You have Sean O'Malley returning on this card. You have Derek Lewis potentially trying to get a knockout over a top 5 heavyweight. You got Natalia.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. You got Natalia Silva taking on legend herself and Rose Namajunas. And then you got Gene Silva versus Arnold Allen, it's probably going to be a fucking scrap. Right? So the main card itself is amazing. This card itself is fantastic, and I've been starved of this.
I know you have.
For like 6
I know you have.
weeks. It's been a long time. I'm hungry. Okay? So I genuinely just can't wait.
Lewis needs to see fighting ranking moved. Like he just dying for like somebody just move up a little bit or move down, or move up or move down. That's all he needs.
I'm just waiting for a result to kick in. Once the first punch lands, I'm back, baby. We're here. I've missed it so much. It's fantastic.
No, it's great. Listen, I'm what I call I guess a better casual. Right? Like I'm not I'm not crazy like you are. Like I'm not naming the prelim fighter and what he could do and what this matchup means. Like I'm there. I know the moves. I know the wrestlers. I know the fighters. I know the styles. I know the clashes. I know how good they are. And look, when something goes down, I'm grabbing onto something. Something's going down behind me if someone gets knocked down. Just saying.
That's right. Amen to that.
I might just reach out and it's Mrs. Mess coming down. I'm just saying.
Miss Matt, come here. Cover your eyes, Miss Matt, right? And it's on Paramount, and it's earlier, an hour earlier, so we're probably going to be done by the night by like 12:30. Or maybe it'll touch before that. Who knows? We might be done by then. Right? Like,
we could pray.
If you get a first round KO, you're done maybe at like, 11:55. That's really good.
Listen, if you're in Europe, you might be done by 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's tough for European fans. I'm gonna keep it stacked. If I lived in Europe, I would not be a fan of the UFC ever. I would just watch it. I would just wait till I could watch.
You would go on TikTok.
Yeah,
you would go on TikTok and rewatch the card.
Yeah, I'm going on TikTok respectfully. Yeah, and that's all I would do. I would not stay up for that shit. Hell no.
Yeah.
But I have the
Paramount's
luxury.
Gonna be great.
Paramount's gonna be great. I have the luxury of being on the East Coast.
Affordable.
It's fantastic. If we were in LA, it would be a little different.
If we were in LA, bro, we We're in LA, bro.
Be out of there by
This shit-
fucking 8 o'clock. We're
This
lit.
shit is at 8 o'clock.
We're lit.
We're going golfing afterwards, bro.
Yeah, I want to go out afterwards. There's still time in the night. Could tell you, man. But I'm pumped. I'm excited. Daniel, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be live streaming.
Yes.
I showed you the setup and how it looks. I got my picks in the background. I got the fighter's name on screen. Right, high production value.
Great.
High
Production value.
Very high production.
We're not shipping out.
Let me tell you,
We're not shipping out here.
We're not cheap out for that color grade.
It is a lot of pockets. If somebody wants to help us, sponsor us, please.
Please sponsor.
Please.
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 Please. Tough on the pockets.
We could use it.
It's Trump.
we could
This
use
is Trump's economy. It's a little tough.
A little
All
tough,
right.
a little tough.
All right.
Well, please.
But it's gonna be fantastic. And I'm gonna be here. We're gonna be here, and we're gonna enjoy it. And finally on Saturdays, we're gonna have a fucking time where people could come into chat, talk about the fights that are happening, react, and kind of have that watch party, that feel for it. So, I'm pumped. I'm ecstatic, and hopefully our fan base grows and we have a great time. That's all I can. Really
It's gonna
hope
be
for.
it's gonna be great when we don't have to keep clicking off the ads to watch a fight. Thank you, Paramount.
Thank you, Paramount. I love you so much, Paramount. Thank you so much. And that's going to do it for the stream, guys. Thank you guys so much. Me and Daniel, we're going to record a video after this. And then we're going to fucking hit the hay.
Yes.
Okay, we have a long day tomorrow.
Yes.
So we're going to record the video and go to bed after
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, take it easy. Peace out, everyone.